Okay? And then the next one that I wanted to talk about was photo and video. So what I really liked about photo and video, at first, ang gusto ko talaga, ang totoo niyan, ang gusto ko talaga was fashion. Okay? But, you know, the thing with photography is, pagka gusto mo ng fashion, medyo, it's either talagang nando ka sa top and people are really going to pay for you, or fashion photographer ka pero wala kang pera. And what you're doing is mostly, kasi pag fashion ka, what I recommend, pero ba dito mahilig sa photography? Meron, di ba? What I would recommend is start off first with friends. There are websites where you can tap models. One of them is Model Mayhem, MODELMAYHEM. Okay? That's a database of models all over the world. A lot of them are amateur, a lot of them are professionals. So if you will register there, you can type in models wanted and you can tell them, ano ba to? Bayad ba to? Is this for portfolio? And if you want to be a fashion photographer, doon ka muna magpo-post. So eventually, doon ka mag-build ng portfolio mo. Because wala namang magbabayad sa'yo kung wala kang magpakita eh. And you know what? The world is full of mediocre people. So my suggestion is, you can be no less than excellent. You have to be excellent. Ang dami ng taong mga wannabe. Tama na yun. And I originally wanted to be a fashion photographer, but I remember even nung time na I got my first paid client, so it was for Jag jeans, and ang ganda ng shots ko. And even yung client, sabi niya sa akin, John, I really like your pictures. They're very colorful, they're crisp, and ang ganda ng mga models. Sila nag-supply ng models. And of course, when I was shooting, yun ang priority ko eh. Yung subject ko, maganda. Okay? But then she goes, but I'm not selling people. I'm selling clothes. And my clothes don't look nice. Alam mo yung mga damit na sinut mo, marami sa kanila, meron pang mga gusot-gusot. And I realized that wasn't my kind of thing. Okay? I tried to go into architecture, yung shooting yung mga interior, but I really got bored kasi wala kang kausap. Ang kausap ko lang doon yung assistant ko. And so people started booking me. So paano ba ako nag-start sa wedding industry? If you have a camera, ang ginagawa ko dati, I would shoot friends. Okay? And then, of course, people would share it with other people, and eventually, word got around na, uy, okay ito mag-shoot. And mamaya, na-discover ko na yung mga ibang mga tao na hindi ko naman sila kilala, they were already inviting me to their birthdays. And at first, okay. Pero eventually, you know, every time you use your camera, meron niyang wear and tear eh. And especially when you want to upgrade your camera and you realize na parang tinapon ko lang yung camera ko dati, no? You will know that it's not always like a hobby. That eventually, it costs you yung equipment, you have a cost of yung time mo, and then yung energy, and then sometimes hindi mo kino-compute yung pamasahe mo, yung parking, and sometimes you have to even pay for your own food. So that was the time na sabi ko, hindi, this cannot go on. Kailangan meron tayo ditong sustainability. Okay? So you write that down. If you want to do a business, you have to make it sustainable. Hindi pwedeng lahat for charity. Now, of course, I do a lot of pro bono work, especially for kung talagang charity or it's for the church, why not? But if I know, ang rule ko dyan is, if I know they are making money out of my pictures, then it is but right to charge. Okay? And I remember before, parang sabi ko nun, okay, ako, being competitive as I am, sabi ko, gusto ko mag-ano naman ako. Gusto ko, I want to do something different. And I remember like 4 years ago, I started praying. Sabi ko, Lord, sabi ko, I know it's going to be a tough prayer, but gusto kong, I want to travel for free. Sabi ko, pwede bang, I want you to take me around. Alam ko, maraming magagaling sa US, maraming magagaling in other countries, and I started praying. And I remember na, ang pinag-pray ko na, sabi ko, I want to go to London. And then, the day after that, pagtingin ko dun sa website ko, I had pagtingin ko dun sa mail ko, I had there 3 emails, inquiries from London, and all coming from different people. And at that time, sabi ko, okay, I think this is an answered prayer. So what I did was, without those people saying yes to me, pumunta na ako agad ng embassy. Nag-inquire na agad ako kung paano kukuha ng visa. And I applied. And sabi nila, usually daw mga 2 weeks daw yung processing. Pero after 3 days, I got my visa. And I emailed, hindi ko sinagot yung 3 email. After I got my visa, that is when I emailed them and told them, uy, sabi ko, perfect, I have a visa. And so I got that. And these are some of the places where I was able to go. Like, well, ito yung some of my samples. Medyo madilim. Teka, ayusin natin siya. Hindi siya appreciate. Medyo dark talaga. Okay. Pwede kayang ipatayin itong ilaw dito? Or madidilim yung inyong video? Parang madilim eh. Okay. Anyway, so like this one was taken in Coron, not out of the country. This is an Indian wedding. It was only taken here. Pero nagulat ako when I got to the wedding, and nakita ko it was a local wedding, but everybody was international. The coordinator was flown in from India. Tapos it was the first wedding that I attended that they closed down the entire floor. At yung corridor ng bawat kwarto, they placed food there so that anybody can eat anytime. And yung entertainment, they had to fly them from Paris. So, yun yung thing that I know right now, when you want to go into photography, don't think that your market is only here in the Philippines. Pag Pilipinas lang yung market mo, medyo mahirap. Use yung internet to your advantage. Especially that sa photography, we are selling media. Okay? So, very important dito ang internet presence. And because of that, if your works are really world-class, malaking possibility na pwede ka. I've trained a lot of photographers and one of those photographers that are trained, mas marami pang pinuntahang mga countries kesa sa akin. And even another photographer in my country, ngayon kasi I got tired of traveling, so every time someone would inquire, ngayon sa kanya ko na pinapass. And I realized itong wedding na to, it was a 19 million peso wedding. Diba? Parang nakakagulat. And para sa akin, it's really a privilege na biro mo, you guys can easily afford to fly in anybody in the world to shoot. And yet, you guys got me. And I guess it's not because I'm from the Philippines. So this is more samples. This is a wedding in Boracay that I shot. This is a wedding in Indonesia. This is in New York. This one is in Boracay. And yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kaninang London wedding, well, this is the London wedding that I shot. Ito hindi, sa Sofitel lang yan. This was a wedding in Australia. This was New York, I think. This was shot in Central Park, New York. So ano ba yung mga areas ng photography that you could do? Well, you can do fashion. Kanina I told you about that. That if you want to enter fashion, start off with models. Okay? Ang advantage ng models is at least maganda na sila. And if you work with professional, I would even advise you, it's okay to pay for models initially. Especially kung medyo mahina pa kayo sa posing. And then, do mentorship. There's a lot of photographers who will take apprentices. Kami, we just started our apprenticeship 2 weeks ago. Usually, ang apprenticeship is long-term. And, ayun, we were pero sa amin close na siya. Usually, about 80 people apply for apprenticeship and we get about 12 people. Okay? And then there's advertising. Advertising used to be really good. Kasi ang mahal dati for one billboard, you could charge 100,000. Pero ngayon, what I heard is 15,000 na lang daw. Because ang problema dito ngayon sa photography is, how many here have cameras? DSLR? Konti lang, iba wala. Okay. So, tinan mo, ngayon may mga nagtataas. But siguro if we had this seminar like about 10 years ago, wala siguro magtataas. I remember yung first camera ko was a Fuji S1, 3 megapixel. Alam niyo magkano bill ko? 180,000. And it was a 3 megapixel camera. Okay? So parang ang hirap dati, pero ngayon it's so easy. But if you want advertising, why not? Especially kung medyo mahihain kayo sa tao. There's a portrait photographer, you can start off like a family thing. Malaki rin yung market dyan, although kalaban nyo pa rin are the neighborhood photographer. And I'm not talking about the neighborhood professional photographer, iba pa yun. Ito talagang neighbors, literally, na meron ng camera. And then wedding, which we entered. Ang maganda kasi sa wedding is it's lucrative because Filipinos tayo, we're big on weddings. And we're also big on pictures. In the States, hindi sila ganun ka big yung care nila sa wedding. They don't even care kung maganda yung pictures nila or what. I've shot weddings na talagang wala silang pake sa akin eh. Na ayaw nila masyadong magpa-picture. Parang hindi nila ako priority. And then there's an event photographer. This is probably one of the easiest to do. There's pet photography. Ito, sobrang konti pa lang sila sa Pilipinas. Okay, yung pet photographer. There's the architectural and interior photographer. There's the press or photojournalist. Usually, marami dito, shoot lang kayo ng shoot and then you submit it to the newspapers. When they get to use it, that's when you get paid. Okay? Marami rin mga magazine na, kunyari, kung gusto nyo mga sinushoot nyo, mga celebrity, like Yes Magazine, you can just contribute. You can be a contributor photographer. And the list goes on. Ayan. So, any questions so far? Alam ko kanina, binanggit ko yung sa video. Okay? To tell you honestly, I have a video company, but I am not a videographer. And one thing I wanted to mention here is, pagka kayo, like ako, I don't have talent in video, but I have the equipment. You can start off a business two ways. Either look inside or look outside. Okay? Ano yung difference ng dalawa? Sino alam ko ano yung difference nung looking inside to start and then looking outside to start? Malapit na ako matapos. Okay, ang difference nun, when you say looking inside, tignan nyo sarili nyo. What did God gift you with? Ano ba yung mga talents nyo? Magaling ka ba mag-drawing? What do you have? Like, are you artistic? Do you know how to write? Ano yung thing that you can do na nakita mong hindi ginagawa ng iba? And there is a need for that. Like ako, I remember, meron akong classmate before na we would go to parties and we would go to outdoor parties and ang ano niya is bakit daw laging walang CR sa mga outdoor parties, ang hirap. So what they did, they imported yung mga portable toilets and they put up yung Sunny King. Okay? And sila rin yung may-ari ng Mr. Quickie. Because in our high school, nakikita niya lagi na, uy, mukhang ano, no? And he had the funds. So what he did was, he saw the need and he invested in it. So ngayon, Mr. Quickie is, I think, if you're going to talk about shoe repair, they're number one. Wala naman sigurong kalaban dito, no? Diba? And yung isa naman, yung sinasabi kong look out is, you see the need, unfortunately, wala ka nun. So what you do is you hire people. And that's what I did for Wang Videography. Photography, to be honest with you, medyo nasa-saturate na siya and it's hard to market yourself. Pero yung sa video, I saw it as a potential na mas malaki yung income. Na pwede pa ako mag-price high because there's not many of us. So what I did there is I hired people who can work for me. Na ako wala akong talent, but they have the talent. So if you want to put up a business, there's two ways. Look in or look out. Understand? So in closing, I just want to end with, I'll skip some kasi yeah. Some tips. Find your passion. Siguro the secret to keeping yourself young and really enjoying your work is you have to find the passion for it. Pero more than the passion, you have to find yung purpose. Kasi sometimes tayo, even if andun yung passion natin, but you don't know why you do what you do, eventually, ang passion mo mawawala. Which is why we created ang class namin, we teach photography every Saturday, and we called it the purpose-driven photographer. It's because I know, coming from all these businesses, na ang passion, magsasawa ka rin dyan eh. Eventually, when you reach where you want to, the thing that you want to reach, wala na, ayaw mo na siyang gawin. So sa akin, it's find your passion and then find your purpose. Second ko doon is know your gift. Like ako dati, 2 years ago, I also studied makeup. Not because I want to do makeup, but I was getting irritated na minsan, ang ganda ng shot ko, pero ang pangit ng makeup, and it destroys the whole picture. Diba? Especially that I do weddings. So what I did, I learned makeup. There were 10 of us in the class. Ako lang yung lalaki, and they thought hindi ako lalaki. Pero lalaki ako, straight. Actually, buntis nga yung asawa ko sa likod. Okay. And after 3 months, so we were taking the course, it was 3 hours a day, 3 times a week, for 3 months. After that, nakita ko, 8 students, mas pangit pa yung gawa. And sabi ko, is it a bad school? Pero hindi eh, may isang student na okay naman yung gawa niya eh. So, I was thinking, so if it's not the school, asan ang problema? And I realized, itong 8 people na to, they didn't have the gift. They're not gifted. So for example, ikaw, if God didn't put that in you, and you try to pursue it, you can only go so far. Hindi mo kayang talunin ng isang tao na talagang in the first place, blessed siya dun eh. Just like singing, di ba? Like ako, I can take voice lessons, but nakita mo naman ang boses ko, ang taas, di ba? So, even if I wanted to sing, walang mangyayari sa akin. So that's my second tip. Know your gift. Because especially ngayon, ang kailangan natin, excellent people, not mediocre people. Di ba? Yun. Third is, mission is important. I know, especially kanina, ang dami nagtaas ng mga employed. Di ba? Asa yung mga employed kanina? Okay, keep them up. Because I want to do a survey, okay? How many of you guys whose hands are up actually know yung company mission nyo? Memorized company. Okay, galing. But may nakita akong mga nagbaba na kamay, di ba? And sometimes, if you don't know the company mission, ang magiging problema is, parang magtatanong ka na nga, anong ginagawa ko dito? And sometimes it becomes, it's all about the money. Pagdating sa amin sa imagination, what I can be proud about is photographers stay because they like the mission. It's not just the photography they like. So, yun ang tip ko sa inyo. And then, lastly, it's set your mind not only on material things, but on things that are eternal. Okay? And, ano ibig sabihin niyan? Huwag niyong kakalimutan na this world where we are is only temporary. So, okay magtayo ng business. Pero sana, hindi yung business ang magiging end. Whenever you do a business, tandaan nyo, sabi nga, don't store up your riches here on earth. Store them up in heaven. And I want to end with a short clip. It's a clip on creativity and striving to be more, not putting a limit on yourself. It's actually a video from Apple, yung computers, okay? Obviously, fan ako ng Apple. And this is just a short video.
Here's to the crazy. Misfits.
Ulit. Kasi nawala yung audio, okay?
Here's to the crazy ones. The misfits. The rebels. The troublemakers. The round pegs in the square holes. The ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing